We need to talk about Garnacho, and I want to talk about why Garnacho is going to be vital. Ten Hag is renowned. One of the big things that we knew about him prior to coming to Manchester United is that he was a man that could nurture talent, and there is no doubt that he has an exceptional one on his hands. He marked his return from 2 months out of an injury with a brilliant finish in the 94th minute at Old Trafford to wrap up a win that Manchester United were at the time doing their best to throw away. It came at a real pivotal clutch moment in the game, and United have absolutely needed that firepower, that intensity, and that attitude in the people that we can bring off the bench. Erik ten Hag had been looking at the bench in recent weeks and just going, I can bring Fred on for a little bit of tempo, but he's not going to get me a goal. I can bring Weghorst on. He's not going to get me a goal. Sancho, Anthony, if one of them had been on the bench, not going to get me a goal. Where are the goals? Garnacho brings that. And it allowed us to breathe a big sigh of relief. Winning a game we absolutely deserved to win. We dominated them. We just couldn't find a finish. It was starting to look like we were going to be punished again for missing chance after chance. And it only needs one. When it's 1-0, it only needs one to completely curtail. And at this stage of the season, a draw is as bad as a loss. Top 4 hanging in the balance. Garnacho helped us kill the game and take another step closer to finishing inside the Champions League spots. Garnacho is our off-the-bench game changer. He's emerged with United losing or drawing against Villa, Manchester City and Barcelona this season, and left the pitch on each occasion as a winner. His goal against Wolves means that he's now the 3rd highest number of goals in the Premier League this season as a substitute. Ahead of him is only Callum Wilson and Son Heung-min. They've got 4. That's incredible when he's barely featured. He has, without doubt, had an exceptional first season at United since making his debut in April last year. He's had 10 goal contributions, including 5 assists. But he's only started 4 Premier League games. He is a United winger in the truest sense, bred in the academy, an FA Youth Cup winner, and an instant impact in the first team. Do you know how many wingers have followed that path at Manchester United? They are plentiful. And the ones that have had big careers, there's not many of them. But it's almost like you wanted to tick a load of boxes to create the perfect Manchester United academy player. You're doing it in this kid. Ten Hag's had the following to say on him. He had a big impact in many games, either when he's starting or coming on. He is ready, straight into the game, and that is so important for the squad that you can bring young players, and I'm happy you can bring young players. Hopefully he can progress so quickly he can compete for starting 11 position, because that is his next challenge. And I think Ten Hag's handling of Garnacho has been brilliant. He was disciplined on pre-season at a time when we were trying to get Garnacho to sign a contract and perhaps tempting him with first-team opportunities. He was disciplined and told he was not going to feature on the tour because he turned up to a meeting late. Again, Ten Hag laying the law down. I don't care who you are. I don't care what situation you are in. These are the rules and I am the boss. And he did it fantastically. And he obviously did it with multiple other players, including Cristiano Ronaldo. But with Garnacho, it had the potential to go and blow up in his face, but it didn't. Disciplined him for lack of timekeeping during pre-season. No playing time on the back of the tour in Bangkok and Australia. But when Garnacho started in that final pre-season against Rayo Vallecano, everybody was put on notice. And it was almost like holding him back the way he did on tour and unleashing him in front of everybody at Old Trafford elevated what Garnacho could go and do. Now, I'm sure it probably didn't, but it felt like it gave him that extra little bit of a hunger. The de facto captain of Manchester United at the moment is Bruno Fernandes, and recently he made some comments about his teammates' lax approach to pre-season training. That message was from the manager, not me. I heard what the manager said. This is what I have to say to Garnacho. I tell him directly. I don't want to compliment too much, because you can tend to slack off if you get too many compliments when you're young. We need this version of Alejandro who scores goals, makes assists, collects balls, everything. Now, it was clear that Garnacho needed to keep his feet on the ground. I think it also proves that he has made huge strides and has the respect of the players. It's all right, Manchester United players liking you as a young player coming through, but they have to respect you. And I think Garnacho has earned the respect of his teammates. I think they probably would like to see him continue being professional, or as professional as he can be, continue to have the impact in games. And quickly he'll go from having the respect to being someone that they rely on, someone that they look to try and win a game. He's got that ability to be a match winner at Manchester United. Not every single player in the world has got anywhere close to having that ability, but this kid does. Now, from a tactical point of view, Garnacho is comfortable receiving the ball on the touchline and in the half space, and I'd argue in behind as well. This is a massive advantage for us because it allows us more flexibility in terms of the use of our fullbacks in different ways. A fullback behind him has got the ability to invert or underlap because he's happy to stay right on the touchline. His ability to come in between the centre half and the fullback means that a fullback has got the opportunity to get in the mix and go and overlap. It gives us a variety of ways that he can partner up with whoever it is that he's paired with as a fullback. It also potentially leads itself to some tactical flexibility because even though I think he's quite a quintessential winger, a bit like Marcus Rashford, in an emergency, I don't think he's the worst option to throw down the centre of the pitch either. His pace and his directness and his quick feet means that he can beat defenders one-on-one or he can beat a line in behind. He is extremely explosive, very, very difficult to stop. When he lays the ball off for a teammate, he's got that knack of always looking for the return pass. He gives and he goes as a rule almost. And when you're playing one-touch football like that, when someone's giving and going and making that run, it's incredibly difficult for somebody to stop. When an opponent can play off one touch, you can't press them. You can only press players who are taking 2, 3, 4, 5 touches or looking to dribble. When someone's just going pop, 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 cast your mind back to that Barcelona side that beat us in the 2 Champions League finals. What were they good at? They were good at going pop, 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 pop. And that's why we couldn't get near them. You can't press teams that have got the ability to play off one. And that's one of the things I love about Garnacho, is his ability to give and go and force someone to give it him in one touch. It's absolutely deadly when he does it. We also know that he's equally comfortable when it comes to receiving short passes, making runs. He can be extremely effective against teams who sit deep in a low block and those with a high line. Because he's got such good 1v1, because he's happy to run directly at defenders, when you've got teams that want to sit back, that's a massive, massive asset. That's why I think Pep Guardiola wanted Jack Grealish, because Pep's teams can, or at least could, become fairly predictable. If you haven't got people that have got a bit of an X-factor, like Haaland has given them, certainly like De Bruyne has got, he is the quintessential Pep player, but I think he's also got the ability to just see everything. I'm talking more about City sometimes can get dull and they can just be sort of hypnotised into the pass with no penetration. Garnacho, Grealish, De Bruyne, Haaland, they all offer their team penetration. They all front somebody up and can beat them. And Grealish and obviously Garnacho being able to dribble past someone gives them a really unique skill in against teams that are going to sit back and try and defend in a low block. And I think he's also quite an intelligent player. I think he plays off instinct, but I think there's a football intelligence and understanding that he knows instinctively how to play the game. And I like that in him. I think naturally, at the age of 18, he is far from a finished product. And I think he could probably improve in 3 main areas. I would say the consistency of his pass in the final third. I think he's got the ability to be able to create for others when he gets into the final third, not just score for himself. And I know he's got a nice balance between assists and goals this season, But I still think that I see opportunities that he's not quite taking to create for others. I think he could definitely improve in that area. I think decision making in the final third, I wouldn't criticise him too much, and I hope that this isn't trained out of him. I think you're allowed, certainly as a teenager, to back yourself and see if you can beat people, because that's how we find out how good you are. But sometimes his decision making is immature, and it's allowed to be because he's a child still. He's a teenager. And then I think a little bit more balance. I think sometimes he runs so fast that he's not fully in control of all of his limbs, and his balance can sometimes be... Watch how many times he slips. You're going to start noticing this now. And that could be footwear. That could be balance. That could be a number of things, but he does seem to end up on his arse quite often. So I'm going to say to you guys, like, I like him. I've liked him since I first clapped eyes on him, and I think he's got a real X factor. I like the confidence, the arrogance. You've got to have a sprinkle of that to get to the very top. But I want to know where you guys think Garnacho's ceiling could be. Are we talking about an all-time great of United? Are we talking about a first-team player? Even if it's just someone that can go and play 300, 400, 500 games for Manchester United, that's an incredible achievement. Even if he gets nowhere near a Ballon d'Or ever, that's still an incredible achievement. Has he overtaken Sancho in the pecking order? Or do you think he will over the course of the summer? And will he keep his feet on the ground? United have had quite a few youngsters that have come through and not quite hit their potential. Let me know how you think it's going to shape out for Garnacho. See you in the next one. Hey, thank you for watching the video. If you are new around these parts, then don't forget to subscribe. My channel is proudly supported by my community on Patreon. If you'd like to get a little bit of extra content, a Discord group, meetups, five-a-side games, weekly podcasts, behind the scenes, and even an occasional bit of transfer news as and when I get it, then for the price of a pint, you can show your appreciation for the content that we make and get some goodies for doing so as well. Check the link in the description or click the button right here. You'll also find all of my socials here too if you want to follow me on any of those platforms. Nice one.